What's going on, nerds? Welcome back to the Comic Book Nerd Nation, episode number 55. I'm Fox2. We got Topher.
Good morning, afternoon, whatever it is where you are.
The whole effing Brian.
I didn't have my coffee yet.
Oh, man. And Pirate is out doing something. I'm not sure exactly what, but he's not going to be here
Doing
today.
pirate things.
Doing pirate things. And Topher, you're making your glorious, triumphant return. We're glad to have you back.
That's because you made the glorious, triumphant return back to our scheduled recording time.
That's pretty much exactly what happened. Well, let's start with you. Since you've been out, what have you been reading?
Oh man, see, now I don't remember what I talked about like 3 weeks ago or whatever the hell the last time I was on here was. Did I talk about Battle of the Atom?
I think so.
I believe so.
I think
yeah.
so. Okay, so after that, I've been reading. I'm finally reading comics that were printed this year.
As the year is coming to a close.
Dude, I'm getting there. So let's see here. Let's go through. So I'm reading just a few series that I'll highlight for good or bad or ugly or whatever. The Jonathan Hickman's Avengers. I have not cared for it. I'm still reading it. Like Infinity was decent, but this comic, like now they're starting, because I've reached the all new Marvel Now, relaunch stuff they were doing at the beginning of this year, and that was when they started printing all the really confusing number ones up in the corner, even though they weren't actually number ones.
Yeah.
Because they just wanted them to sell better. It was like new storylines. It's like, well. So I read, Avengers 24, which is the all new now number one, whatever. I don't know how many adjectives they want to throw at it, and it's still just more of the same overinflated, egotistical, self-important bullshit. Like I can't do it. Like that comic, and see, he's writing New Avengers, which I really like. Like I really like what they're doing in there with the incursions and all that stuff, and like it's with the Illuminati, it's good. But just the flagship Avengers title, which you would think would be the title that Marvel is pushing hardest and making most accessible to the fans of the movies and everything, it's just it's drivel. It's like the artwork's decent, but it's like. It's like there's this lofty art style too, even where like all the the camera angles, if you will, like you're looking up at these characters from the floor in all these scenes, and it's just like they're trying to make them all larger than life, and like again he just keeps repeating these same trite phrases over again, like we have to get bigger and everything dies, and in the beginning there was light, and then the light was eclipsed by, it's like, what does that mean? Like, or are you telling a story with this? Like, does this have a bearing on something? Are you getting to a point? 24 issues now, you've been doing this shit, and like, what? Like, what?
So he's just basically trying
for?
to give it like some huge gravity and weight to
Yeah,
the story.
like he just keeps lumping all this artificial importance on it, and it's like, I get it. You're the Avengers. You're trying to make it look like you have universal significance. It's like a small group of heroes from one planet that basically roam the entire universe, like the only badasses who can accomplish anything. And fine, Infinity was cool. I enjoyed when they were badasses, and it was still cool to see them, put the Shi'ar in their place, and and the Spartaks, and to back, be the ones who were coming up with the grand plans, and but like, I'm getting a little tired of Steve Rogers being the only one in the universe who can think his way out of a fucking paper bag, like,
I read that. I was also reading the Avengers when it was coming out, and that was one of the books I was excited for, and then just all the new shit they're they tried to push in with the builders and stuff like that, and they just seemed to overbear it. And like, especially the first issue. I don't know if you read the first issue, Chris.
Yeah.
The one where Tony and Steve are like, we need to be bigger. And you have that circle with the symbols for each character.
Yeah, every single issue was like, I don't know if they made it an extra couple pages longer, if they just devoted a page to this, but like they've been doing like a full page like white page with just like fancy formatted text in the middle with like the title of the story arc and like Avengers. It's like title cards on movies. It's like presented by Marvel Comics, The Avengers. And it's like there's these title pages where they'll show like a graphic. It'll show which characters are in that. In that issue.
I haven't read it, but the way you guys are describing it, like especially with that, it makes me feel like they put shit like that in there as filler because they almost couldn't come up with anything good to talk about.
And then they'll have like a previously page where they devote an entire page to show like what's been happening, and like they'll have scenes
in the beginning.
Exactly. It's almost like a TV show.
It's like a TV show where they do the previously on whatever, and
last
it's like
time on Arrow.
Yeah, and they've got like previously in Avengers, and then there'll be like panels from those comics, and instead of like the words that were actually in those panels, they'll like they'll still have quotes from those characters, but they'll kind of remix it, so that you hit the highlights, and like I don't have a problem with that. That's okay, but like it's actually kind of nice to get that sometimes because it's like, oh yeah, like that happened. So
yeah.
So I don't have a problem with the recaps, but just the way they're presenting it, it's so self-important. Like it's pompous as hell, man. Like, and you've got. The story was okay, like I enjoyed Infinity. Infinity was actually pretty decent, and where they actually eventually ended up with the whole Builders thing, I liked it. Like it was good. But I tell you what, man, I read the first issue, like Marvel Now, Avengers #1, and when I put it down at the end of it, I was like, what the fuck just happened? Like, yeah. I have no idea what's going on. Like, am I supposed to know any of these people? Like, they just start, showing people on panel and having them talk. Like, and it's not like the weird supervillain reveal where it's like, soon they will know my plans, and it's like, like a darkened silhouette, and then it's like, oh, they're gonna reveal who that is next issue or something. Like, you will find out. Like, or talking to a character that you get the feeling like, oh, okay, this guy must have been around for a while, even though I have no idea who the hell he is. They're just like, bam, characters, and they're using them. It's like, should I know who that is? Should I not know who that is? I don't know. And so it was just super confusing, and it sucks because I recommended to a friend. She was looking to get into comics, and she was like, I want to read something Avengers, and and before I started reading the series, I'm like, oh well, they just did a whole big relaunch, like Avengers #1. That's probably a really good jumping on point, and and my brother and my brother was at the Cincinnati Comic Expo with me, and he was even talking, and he was like. He said somebody was talking to him about, wanting to maybe read some Avengers stuff, and he's like, well, I would figure Avengers #1 would probably be a pretty good place to start, and it's like, so I know that there are people who are not familiar with comics who are going to be jumping in, and they're looking for something to start with, and the Avengers are the biggest, name in popular comics right now outside of comic readers, and so why is Avengers #1 this
terrible book?
This terrible, over, self-important book that is not at all representative of what most comics normally are. Like I'm still reading it, like, because it's still, the plot lines are still important to where the overall Marvel universe is going, but it's like, I don't enjoy it nearly as, and I guess other people agreed with me because If you read, all the Avengers books have a shared like letters page, where they've got like issue coming up next, and and just talk about like news that's going on in the Avengers world. And they some fan letter suggested a poll where they said, oh, you should have people write in and let you know like what their favorite Avengers book is, and who their favorite writer is, and who their favorite inker is, and artist, and this and that. And so they did, and like Hickman was not number one, and the Avengers book was like last of all the main Avengers titles in terms of reader popularity in their poll. And it's like, doesn't that tell you something?
Clearly you're doing something wrong.
Right. I mean, it's not approachable. And even as someone who knows most of the characters, like it's just, I read it and it's not fun. It's like they're trying to cram something down my throats and be like, this is important. Like we're doing art here.
We're doing things.
It's like, dude, just like it can be art and not have to.
It still has to remain fun. That's the
and it's just it doesn't have that. So that's my critique of the comic. And then what else was I reading? I had a third one that I was going to mention a second one that I was going to mention before I got to my third one, but now I don't remember what it was. Because I mentioned before that I mentioned the good, bad, and ugly of what I've been reading, and for the good, I'm going to talk about Deadpool. Deadpool's comic his series has been absolutely fantastic. There was a storyline.
I can't get into it. I read some of it, and I just could not. Maybe it's just me.
I liked the first storyline when the all-new Deadpool relaunched.
The first storyline was the dead presidents.
Yeah, where he's taking on all the superpowered zombie presidents.
Yeah, there's like a hippie necromancer guy who decides that this country is going down the toilet, and we need to get back to the way the founding fathers imagined this country. And so he decides he's going to raise the dead presidents. He's going to raise the presidents from the dead, and he does. But they come back as soulless, president. Well, not zombies necessarily, but because they're like, powerful and intelligent and eloquent and whatnot. But and they come back and they try and take over the country, and Shield has to hire Deadpool to put them down because they said Captain America beheading George Washington with his shield does not make for a very good news clip.
Yeah.
So they're like, we have to hire somebody that we can disavow and that no one cares what they look like, decapitating all these dead presidents. And so they hire Deadpool to put them all down, and it was really fun. And there's just so many references, pop culture references, and this and that, and it's funny, but not over the top funny, and I think that's what makes it good. The fact that it was well written, and it wasn't just slapstick. It was there was actually a plot behind it, and I think Deadpool works best when you make him you make him the wacky and not necessarily wacky, but insane character in the midst of real situations. Because when you just put him in completely asinine situations, then it's a little too over the top. Like the insanity has to come from internally with Deadpool, I feel like, for it to really work. And I like Posehn and Dugan have been doing a great job of that. And then a later arc there, they managed to keep a theme and some plot points going, throughout the first year and a half of his book so far that I've been reading. And there's a storyline. One of the second or third arc is called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and it involves a guy from Weapon X, from the Weapon X program, who is redoing, like, trying to collect, people and do experiments again for a program in North Korea, for a super soldier program in North Korea, and he ends up getting Deadpool, and it ends up being a really serious story, and you get to see a slightly different side of Deadpool where it makes him a real character with like real feelings and motivations, and it's one of the best story arcs I've read in a long time. It was handled really well. There was still a bit of comedy here and there.
I think that's the one that I read, but
yeah, that's the one you talked about.
I didn't think I didn't hate it. I'm not a big Deadpool fan. It wasn't bad. I just couldn't get into it. Maybe it's because I'm not really drawn to that Deadpool character like you guys are, but I don't know.
Well, see, and I thought I like Deadpool, but like there are a lot of people who are just like, oh my god, Deadpool, and will just buy anything with Deadpool on it.
Yeah,
whether they're pop figurines or or whatever.
Yeah, he does have that.
What are you trying to say? No, but I agree. When I got to the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, I didn't really I didn't pick up on it, and I stopped reading Deadpool then. And then there's been a few issues like him going into the past and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
I read that.
That first story arc where he's fighting all the dead presidents was really fun. Was definitely a really fun read, and I loved it. I mean, not every book can be awesome the whole way through, and true. Some people stop picking it up, but
there've been a couple issues that were weaker than others, but overall, I gotta say it's one of the better titles from Marvel now that I've read. It's some of them there've been because I'm reading a lot of Marvel titles, and there are some that I like. Well, and there are some that I like because they're good. There are some I didn't expect to like, but I did, Kelly Sue DeConnick's Avengers Assemble.
Mm-hmm.
Really good comic, kind of like a side thing to the Avengers.
Right.
But she's a great writer. The characters she chooses to use and in her stories have been excellent. And it's like, damn it, I don't want to buy another, Avengers series, but hers is just really damn good.
Yeah.
And then and then there's other series like the X-Men books, those I'm gonna buy and I'm gonna read because I love the X-Men. Like you were saying before, they're Deadpool fans. I'm an X-Men fan, so I'm gonna buy the books whether they
You're
suck
gonna get
or
it
not.
regardless, right?
And it sucks when it does suck. Excuse me, but there's 5 main X titles going on right now, and the one that's just called X-Men that focuses on the all-female team. I haven't been enjoying it as much. It's just not as good. There's some fight going on between Rachel Grey and Storm, and they're portraying Storm as this somewhat heartless bitch who has to be the team leader and just being all officious and shit, and she was willing to just kill one of her teammates if it meant containing some threat, and it was really that doesn't even feel like Storm to me, And so,
did she pick up some of Wolverine's personality?
Yeah, well, at that point, he hadn't even been rubbing off on her yet, if you know what I mean. So
that's 200-year-old semen coming up.
That was before they started hooking up, I think. So I don't get it. I read that book and I'm like, oh. It's funny because I was reading all the other books kind of this month issues, and I'll read, even though it's in the middle of an arc, I'll be like, oh, I gotta go read this. Oh, and then this one came out, so I'll read these. And then I look back and I realize I'm pretty much at the same point in publishing time on four books, and then I'm 7 months behind on that one because it's oh, but I don't want to read that one, and
it's
so
good.
So there are books of characters that I like that suck, and there are books of characters I don't like that are good, and I feel like Deadpool, whether you're a fan or not, his series has been just really goddamn good. You know, I like Deadpool, but I haven't read everything he's ever been in. I don't go and buy everything Deadpool. I like Deadpool when he's written well as a character.
Yeah.
You know? And I feel like this series has done that very well.
It's the same thing with me for Spider-Man. Like, as soon as they stopped, what was it called?
Superior
Spider-Man, and they brought back, you know, Peter Parker to his, you know, whatever, to his own title, and they brought back Amazing Spider-Man, and it hasn't been entertaining at all. It hasn't. I pick it up still because Spider-Man's my favorite character, but it hasn't been that good until they started this Spider-Verse thing, which, you know, I've enjoyed, but, you know, like we've just been talking about, you know, I'll still pick it up just to hope that it gets better, and it has, but at the beginning it wasn't that great.
Is that what you've been reading, Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
Is that all
you've been? No, that's not all I've been reading, but, you know, to do with the topic.
Fox tried to make that like a really smooth segue.
I tried to have a transition there. Brian's like,
just like,
what now?
But, yeah, I mean, Spider-Verse has been, it's cool to see all these Spider-Men they came up with over the years from different, you know, universes, and have them all, like, all the different variations, whether it's Spider-Ham, the pig, Spider-Man, Peter Porker,
oh my god,
the
Ultimate, those are old throwbacks. Like they had those in like what if issues, or you know, like some
exactly.
old. So I mean, that's kind of like an old. You know, they're trying to include every.
It's like a nostalgia thing, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like a new character. They're like, oh, this would be cool if we made Spider-Man a pig.
Yeah.
Well, I mean.
And now all I can think about is Homer Simpson walking one across the street.
Spider pig. But, you know, it's a cool little story, like, you know, Spider-Man's Peter Parker from 616, which is the main universe, is supposed to be some, like, key to all of them. And these, like, vampire-type dudes from another universe are hunting down and feeding, like, actually, like, feeding on the spiders. It seems weird, but it's entertaining. I mean, I like it. It's not like this whole action-packed... I guess you could say action-packed, but it's not this, like, awesome story that's relevant. Well, I don't know if it'll be relevant, but it's not affecting the rest of the 616. It's just affecting, like, the spider people. Yeah, it's just erecting.
Yeah.
Well, they've got to get Miles Morales over in the 616 before the incursions blow up the Ultimate Universe, because he's the only good character over there.
Which is that I don't know how the rest of you guys feel about what they're leading to, but I'm still, like, not sure what the hell they're gonna do with that whole, like, Battle World thing.
Yeah, I'm not excited about it at all. Like, there's not really anything that I've heard that makes me want to, like, go out and read this when it happens. I mean, I guess if it comes out and it starts getting, like, really good reviews and everything, or if, like, one of you guys reads it and says, "Hey, this is extremely readable," I might give it a shot. But as of where it is right now, like, when that comes out, it's not something that I'm even remotely interested in. Like, I'd rather go get, like, a mathematics textbook and read it. Like,
I feel like there's two types of storylines, you know, that you can aim for in comics, and one is, like, you know, like a really good book. You know, like, you get a storyline that's just, you know, you can bring characters in, you can do a crossover, you can do whatever, but the focus is on the story and on the character development in it, and sure, big events might happen, but it's about the characters and how they deal with them, and how the characters feel about it, and the story that takes place in it. And, you know, and I think back to old Claremont issues of the X-Men from the late 70s, and like just really good character moments and stories, and like have an arc where nothing necessarily universe shattering happens, but the characters' worlds will never be the same, because of some way that they grew or changed or something. And then the other way is to just have some big event that feels like, those commercials for the TV shows that nobody cares about, but the networks still keep airing, where like on a new, all special, like, yeah, like on a very, like, and nothing will ever be the same, and it's like really, like, everything's going to be the same because the show's going to keep going on for the next 10 years doing the same shit it's been doing. So stop telling me that nothing will ever be the same. And I feel like this is leading up to the latter. They're trying to say, like they've admitted, like, what sells? Does number 572 of a series
number
with great character development sell? No. Number ones and crossovers are what sells.
Yep.
So they're going to keep doing crossovers. They're going to keep doing these world, universe, galaxy, whatever shattering events. That like nothing will ever be the same. So that a bunch of new number ones can come out of it. And like, I don't know. I feel like it's more of a marketing gimmick, and they're just going to sell. And the story is going to take a back seat.
Yep.
And like, I want it to be good, and I'm going to buy it because nothing's ever going to be the same, and and it's going to be, you're going to have to know what happened there to understand everything that comes after that. But at the same time, it would be nice if it wasn't just a setup to buy more books, and it was actually like a really good story.
Something worth reading, right?
I'm holding out hope.
What else have you been reading, Brian?
That's about it right now. I didn't pick up anything yet this week. I have to go today, but back to this Battle World thing. I don't know if I've talked about it before, or you guys pay attention to what DC's doing. Both of them are doing the exact same thing, basically, at the exact same time. I mean, this whole thing with like Future's End and what is it called, Convergence, or something.
Convergence.
They're all gonna be like different DC groups from different and characters from different universes pre-existing. The New 52 are like battling each other or something like that, or being ported to different. I mean, I don't know what DC's trying to do with Marvel. It seems like they're trying to refresh, bring up something, do something new, reboot some kind of thing with this Battle World. Like,
I hope it's not a reboot.
If they're like, it seems like that, they're all going to be fighting, and whoever survives Battle World are going to be in this new
Survivor Comics edition.
Yeah, are going to be in this new continuity that,
I bet it's not the X-Men or the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, no, right?
And maybe Spider-Man, because, that those hackers found some shit out for us. But, the first good thing hackers have ever done, but it seems like they're gonna redo maybe not reboot it to the beginning, but do it to a fact where they all pop up at a certain point at a time, and they remember some shit, and some shit has happened in the past and that we have read, and some characters are gonna be existing in different forms. Like, we have the Spider Girl, that's Peter and Mary Jane's daughter. Maybe after Battle World she'll be there, but she'll be younger, like a kid. I mean, I don't know what DC's doing with the outcome of this Convergence thing, but maybe it'll be the same thing. I don't know.
Could be.
But it's weird how they're doing the exact same thing, maybe in a different sense. Like, DC's not going to be in a Battle World. They'll just be popping up in different universes. But it's weird because you can't blame the other one for copying the other one, because they seemed like they were getting to the same point at the same time.
Yeah.
Well,
interesting to see how it plays out.
Maybe DC and Marvel will come together in one glorious world, and Green Lantern will be fighting Iron Man, Doctor Doom,
and they're
Lex
No.
Luthor will be teaming up.
Bad Brian. No.
And
It's not. We all know it's
Bad
not gonna
Brian.
happen. But
No.
it's
and
just this
I can get my
coincidence is
Batman
funny.
Spider-Man crossover.
Yeah.
My Spider-Man team up with Batman.
Peter Parker works for Wayne Industries, right next to
No.
Lucius Fox.
Bad Brian.
and none of these are really new ideas either, because
No, they're not.
like Marvel's harkening back to Secret Wars from
Yeah.
1985 and Battle World and that whole event in the first place, while it was kind of like the first big crossover between like entire company crossover, like at the time it was done to sell toys. And they admitted that. Like, that wasn't a secret. It wasn't a bad thing. It wasn't something they were trying to sweep under the rug. They got a toy license, and they were like, "Oh, we need to do a series that gets all our characters together so that we can market these toys." And it grew out of that. And then DC has been doing, Crisis on Infinite Crises for,
Forever.
decades.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's just another rehash of that. And now they're like, what if we combined the worst toy marketing event with the worst continuity, fourth wall, universe punching event, and we stuck them together?
Yeah.
And what if both companies did that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
right. I'm not that excited about it. I don't know. All right, I'm gonna jump in here and talk about what I've been reading.
nobody cares.
Yeah. Screw you.
That's about all the time we have for today.
That's about
Thanks for
it.
joining us.
I finished up reading Zero Year by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo.
Sorry.
That's all right. I really, really enjoyed the Batman Zero Year stuff. It was super entertaining. I really enjoyed all the tie-in issues where it showed what the different superheroes were doing during the blackout in Gotham. The way that the Riddler was the main villain. I loved it. I really, really loved the way that Scott Snyder was able to portray the Riddler and kind of have him in that mastermind, evil genius type role. There wasn't anything that I can think of that I would want to complain about as far as that storyline goes. It was every single book I found myself like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to read the next one. I can't wait to read the next one. You finish it and they did it almost in that like TV series-esque kind of thing, like where it leaves you at this perfect point of a cliffhanger where you're like, you just really, really need to read at least the first few pages of the next issue to find out what happened. But if you read the first few pages of the next issue, you're already sucked in. You're going to read that whole issue. So I found it to be a very fast read, very enjoyable. Like if you haven't read it, both of you guys read The Zero Year?
Yes.
Not yet. No, actually, I'm behind on Batman. I'm like right up to that point.
Oh man, it is so good. I won't give away like exactly what happens, but
I've got them all.
Oh my gosh, it's really good. It's definitely up there, probably in my top 10 story arc kind of deals. It's really, really good. I would definitely recommend you get to it. Then I started reading the Planet Hulk stuff.
You just started it?
Yeah.
That's a fucking awesome storyline. That and World War Hulk, the combination.
Yeah,
of the two.
I started with
Planet Hulk is awesome.
the prequel in the Fantastic Four series where, it really talks about, it's like a time when Bruce Banner has control of the Hulk and he's working for S.H.I.E.L.D. to take down different Hydra scientific labs and everything, and they go into a cave outside of Vegas, and there's a gamma bomb there, and it accidentally gets set off, and it turns him into the Gray Hulk, and he just like completely freaks out and is fighting Thing and Human Torch in Vegas, and just destroys Vegas. And then that's kind of what preempts Nick Fury into sending him into space. And I've only read like I said, I've only read like that prequel and then like maybe one or two as they're sending him up into space. So I'm excited. I've obviously already basically know the premise of Planet Hulk. I know it's a really good story. I've seen the animated movie. I know it's not exactly the same, but I'm excited to get through it to get to World War Hulk. It's kind of what I'm really looking forward to. I didn't want to go and jump ahead and like read World War Hulk without doing my due diligence and reading the Planet Hulk stuff first, because I feel like you could end up missing a lot. Kind of like how you approach stuff, Topher. You like, what I really want to read is down here, but I'm gonna sift through all the horse shit first, because there's little bits and pieces. There's hidden gems in here that I really need to have to be able to understand fully what's happening later. So that's kind of where I'm.
As someone who's read Planet Hulk, man, that is so not horseshit.
No, I definitely.
No, I know what you're talking about, but that is a great series, and I read it. I borrowed a buddy's. He had the trade paperback of it, and I tell you what, like, it didn't read like issues of a comic book. It read like this graphic novel masterpiece that was just like it was written, written as one story and then just chopped into episodes. Exactly. It was a very self-contained story that had a solid setup, a good beginning, middle, and end, and it was really well done, and it was a little different too. I like that they didn't go standard routes. You don't have like the same themes being visited over and over again. Like it was really good, and yeah. I enjoyed the hell out of that one. Over the next week or two, that's what you can kind of probably expect me to be talking about, is what I'm thinking of how that storyline goes, which from what I've heard from literally everybody that I've talked to, I'm going to absolutely love it, especially me, since I'm a big Hulk fan. People that aren't necessarily Hulk fans or Hulk readers love that storyline, so I'm sure that it's going to be really good for me. See, Planet Hulk told a story that was important and had that weighty feeling to it, without something without having to brag without them cramming it down your throat and trying to tell you, hey, every other panel, hey, this is important, pay attention, hey, this is important, hey, we're doing something important here. Mm-hmm. It's like contrast Planet Hulk against the current Avengers series, and it's like, that was how it was done right. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Well, that's what I've been reading. I just haven't had that much time. I did get my girlfriend bought the Guardians of the Galaxy on Blu-ray yesterday, so we took some time out and we're watching that. God, that movie is so good. It's so watchable. It's so fun, and it has just the right amount of lightheartedness. Did you challenge her to a dance-off in your living room afterwards? No, we're not done with it yet, but that might happen. We'll have to see. That's probably my least favorite part, is the very end, but the rest of the movie is so it has just the right amount of humor and that just fun element, that undefinable fun element but the movie still takes itself seriously. It still has the action, it still has the gravity of the story, the weight of the importance of it as far as how it relates to the rest of the cinematic universe. But it's not, self-absorbed like you talked about the Avengers series. It's got that lighthearted fun. It's so watchable. I really love it. It's awesome. But that's it for what I've been reading and stuff. Let's jump over to the news and talk about some news real quick. So everybody knows The Walking Dead is in its mid-season break, which I think is ridiculous. I hate that TV shows are doing that shit now. So there was go ahead. They kind of used to do that anyway, though. I mean, TV shows would never show new episodes during Christmas and New Year's. And it wasn't as long, though. Now it goes from November to fucking February. Yeah, to fucking March. Yeah, Walking Dead is the longest. The other ones come back in January. Well, they used to have sweeps, everybody was interested in February or March sweeps or something, and so they'd wait to come back until they could do some big lead in during that, and so that gap keeps growing. Well, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is kind of doing it too, although they've got Agent Carter to fill the gap in there. Which,
dude, how awesome was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this last week?
See, the upside to having a big gap like that is you get mid-season finale episodes, which are like always really big, pretty decent cliffhangers. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was pretty decent.
I'll give you
Are you still watching it at all?
I have not. No.
This fucking episode was fucking amazing.
Their mid-season finale was this week. It was good. It was good.
Well, The Walking Dead, as you know, is already on its mid-season break, and a teaser trailer came out where you get some of the actors talking about what's going on with the current season and some of the writing staff, and they promised some huge changes when the show returns in February. And they said there's going to be a real theme of stripping the characters down as far as like
they're getting
really
naked.
Not like that, Brian.
Damn it!
Breaking them down on like an emotional sense to where they just one of the big things of The Walking Dead thus far has been that they've always had somewhere to go. They've always had some sort of safe zone, if you will. Whether it was the prison, the camp, the farmhouse, whatever it was, they had a place. Well, that's kind of gone, and that's kind of what they want to play off of instead of running away to a safe zone. They're kind of heading into the heat of it. So we'll have to see what goes. I'm way behind on Walking Dead. I just haven't had the time to catch up, but it's something that I know at some point I'm going to want to watch all of it. So I'm excited about, what they're doing, even though I'm not current on it. Are you guys, you guys have been watching?
Yeah, I'm always excited to see what they do next after a break or when a new season comes. I mean, I enjoy that show. I mean, the only thing about it that I never enjoyed was the first half of the second season where every episode was Sophia, where are you?
Yeah,
Sophia.
Yeah, they spent a lot of time on that whole thing.
I mean, like every TV show, they'll have lackluster episodes and stuff like that. But I keep on watching. I like Walking Dead. I like the whole like intensity of it, and I especially like seeing the like what they create, like the zombies they create, and their like effect workshops do with the the makeup on people, or the zombies like the dummies they make for certain shots and stuff like that. They all look amazing. So
been watching the show for years, and like still you can watch an episode and still, unless you make yourself think about it, never be consciously aware that all those zombies are actual actors, that those are extras, that those are people doing this, like they just those are zombies. Like you don't even think of them as people. Like
not at all. Yeah.
You're keenly aware that the characters are played by actors, but you never once think, oh, that's the guy that played that one zombie. Like, wait, the zombies have actors? I thought they were just zombies. Hello?
Somebody's getting a phone call.
Yeah, things are popping up on my fucking bastards.
But I've been watching that show since the beginning, and I'm all caught up on it, and I still really enjoy it. Like I know it's had some ups and downs, and I've heard of a few people at least comment that last season bored them to tears and that nothing ever happens in the show. But I don't know. I thought last season was really good. When they would spend like an episode focusing on like one or two characters at a time, and like you actually got some character development out of that. And like you said, after season 2, they all seemed good. The farmhouse was like, oh, shoot me now.
Yeah.
So
Herschel and his forever ammo shotgun.
Right. So another bit of news. I don't know if either of you guys watched Vampire Diaries. I've never seen it or anything.
No. Dear Diary, I'm gonna bite this motherfucker tonight.
I don't think that's how it goes. I haven't seen it, but I'm pretty sure that's not.
Isn't that some like teen Twilight drama.
Yeah,
shit.
something like that, I think. Well, anyway.
So there's only a couple places the story can go that I won't judge you for. So
okay.
Go ahead.
Actress Claire Holt from Vampire Diaries is being tested right now for the role of Supergirl for the upcoming CBS TV show. So I don't know literally anything about this actress other than the fact that A, she was in Vampire Diaries, and B, she's also going to be in another TV show. I can't remember the name of it, but where she's going to be a detective that is investigating into an upcoming cult leader that turns out to be Charles Manson.
Ooh, that seems interesting.
That seems like an interesting show to me.
I don't know anything about her as an actress, but she looks like she could look the part.
So we'll have to see if she ends up getting selected. Again, it just said the story that I read just said that she was being tested. So that doesn't even necessarily it's not even rumored that she's going to be it. So it may not even they may completely change gears, and I'm sure CBS is really wanting to hit the ground running with the popularity of the comic book TV shows right now. I think they're going to want to hit the ground, full throttle with the exact right person for that role, and try and garner the popularity of that character and really capture the female audience is obviously what they're going to be gearing themselves towards. So we'll just have to see what happens. Next on the list of things to talk about, Game of Thrones. A while back, we talked about the fact that Telltale Games was coming out with Episode 1, Iron from Ice, the Game of Thrones video game. That's going to be like a walkthrough kind of choose your own destiny, similar to the Walking Dead game that was on PlayStation and Xbox, I'm assuming. This is now out, and it is getting incredible reviews. I read a couple reviews, and they were giving it 9 out of 10 and stuff, which for a video game is extremely good. Most video games, I would say, probably average in the 6 to 7 range. So I don't know. Have you guys read anything about this yet? Or
I haven't read anything, but if it's anything like those Walking Dead games, which I've played, it's right on par with how awesome they are. I mean, for a simple game, which is just like a point and click,
but
walk around
it
type
just
game,
sucks you in, and you end up wasting hours.
They're good stories too. I mean, The Walking Dead obviously doesn't follow the cast, but they're good stories, and it's really sucks you in. And the Walking Dead game doesn't go based on.
And if there's anything that Brian likes, it's getting sucked in.
Yeah. Well, wait. Well, yeah, I do like getting sucked in.
He was like, "Wait, no."
But I don't like doing the sucking in. But the
the fact that he had to think about that for so long. Oh.
The Telltale Walking Dead game doesn't go based on the TV show. It goes based on the comic books. It's in that world, the comic world.
Right.
But there's also that other game. There was another game made by them, The Wolf Within or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I haven't read anything.
Supposedly that is really good too. It's the same type of game. I think the main character is a werewolf or something like that. But they're all the same type of game, and that The Wolf Within or The Wolf Among Us. I think it might be The Wolf Among Us. But that got a lot of good reviews and did very well too. So give it up for Telltale making these awesome games and bringing Game of Thrones into the mix.
Yeah, no shit.
Is that who's making Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
The game, Telltale.
Yeah, it's one of those episodic type adventure games where you pay I don't know, Walking Dead was $8 or something like that for the first episode, and it would take you, maybe 2.5 hours, 2 hours to play through the first episode, and then a month would go by, and then they would release the second episode, and it was 4 episodes or 5 episodes long for the whole game, or you could pay $30 up front, and you get each episode as it becomes available. Now you can just go and buy it on disc. Originally, it was only digital download, but they're good. They're definitely very good games.
I have to check those out.
Yeah, it's fun. You can go to like Walmart or Target or anywhere, and I'm pretty sure you can get for like PS3. You can get the Walking Dead with all of the episodes for like $20, $25.
Yeah, it's cheap, but it's like it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, it's really fun, and it's one of those games where, like I said, it's kind of a choose your own adventure type thing where it'll have differences in the story based on the choices that you make. Not like huge glaring differences, obviously, but you know, there's almost some replay value to maybe go back and choose differently, you know, at some certain points just to see how the story kind of differs. And then the last thing that that's on the list of things to talk about is DC in March 2015 is going to be having some movie poster variant covers. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, some of them are kind of.
I don't really know. I'll just go down the list here and tell you some of them because there's a ton of them. There's 22 titles that are going to have variant covers. Aquaman is going to be a Free Willy inspired cover.
That's like a slap in the face.
Yeah, that's what I said. Batgirl is going to be Purple Rain.
Okay, that one actually looks cool.
Batman and Robin is Harry Potter. Jesus Christ.
Superman is Action Comics is Bill and Ted, but it's Superman and Doomsday.
But far and away, the one that stands out as the most absurd and just horrible decision is Justice League is a Magic Mike cover. Okay, and if you haven't seen it, Google it, but I'll do my best to just describe the depravity of this cover. So on the cover you have Aquaman, Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, and Flash all wearing black leather pants, no shirts. Batman has his mask on, and they all have their symbols like tattooed on their chests. And they're standing on the stage with like the lights and shit on them. I mean, it is... why? What benefit? Like, how does this relate to your target audience?
I think it's funny.
I think it's ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd. It's terrible.
If the audience and you guys want to check out some awesome pop culture covers, variants. Actually, they weren't variants. They did the whole thing. All the covers like this. Google Deadpool Merc with a Mouth covers. Those covers were different pop culture references, and they were awesome. Like, there was one where Deadpool's in a pool, like the Nirvana Nevermind cover, except for instead of a dollar bill, it was a taco.
I have seen that one.
There was like a Scarface one, what's that early movie with Ewan McGregor? About drugs. Yeah. There's a Trainspotting one. Those were actually awesome covers. But these DC ones are totally fucking ridiculous. They're so like
oh, there it is, right there on screen. That is just okay. That's enough. That's it. I'm calling it for the day. I'm Fox 2. We got the whole F and Brian.
Yeah, Magic Mike. Magic Justice League.
We got Magic Justice League Topher over here.
Watch Batman dance.
All right.
Yo, we should do a thumbnail like that. Stay tuned.
Or not. We'll see you next week.